anything to do with a team leader. It has to do with.
It has everything to do with me. It has everything to do with me. It's fine.
There's a lot of other people that are involved that make up this dream team to get you where you need to be and to have very, very strong qualified people in all these roles.
And if you have a client who wants answers about this, and I always joke, like, he will talk to you about the history of the roofing nail.
Yeah, but there's like, it's one of those things that, like, the topic and what they're, it's like, it's boring and will bore people to tears. However, it is really important.
You know what? Honestly, Jen, I'm gonna shoot you straight. For as boring as you say title is, that was a pretty damn good conversation we had about title insurance.
They were capes. As somebody who has been licensed for 3 or more years, and you do not already have your own credible inspector,
yeah,
or just your own vendors, I'm concerned. Welcome back to another episode of Moving Subs. I ever wonder if Seth is going to jump in and say it one of these.
I never introduce us because you do such a damn good job, Jen.
You're full of shit, but thanks.
Hey, and also just a little bit of housekeeping. We have had a lot of people give us ratings and reviews and subscribes, and we would like to keep that momentum going. If you enjoy this content and you would like to see more of it, or you think it would help our channel at all, or you get to see more of it just in terms of it being on your feed, definitely give us a like, give us a comment.
Or if you don't like it and you don't think it's good, do it anyway and engage in it and just humor us.
That's true. That's true. Nothing gets us going like a text thread between the two of us being like, "Do you see that comment? Did you see that comment? Like, which one? Which one?" So it's usually Jen's expense because I'm
it really is.
Her. Yeah, it is. That's fine.
Because I'm a woman.
No. Well, we can talk about that next episode, why we think that is. But let's talk about what we're going to talk about this time with the team leader or team. It does
not have anything to do with a team leader. It has to do with.
It has everything to do with me. It has everything to do with me. It's fine.
You don't need me on this podcast. Hey, you just said it. Without me, we wouldn't get any comments.
That's very true. The algorithm does like themselves some Jen and Usky. I will say that much.
What we are talking about is a dream team, and I don't mean just the realtor. It's no surprise that there's a lot of people that go into the process of a real estate transaction, but it is not really emphasized enough the importance of all of the other people that are involved. It's very forward-facing that obviously an agent and then obviously a lender, and we've spoken at length multiple times about what goes into having a great agent and how to vet them. And if you're not sure, we can send you the episodes on where we cover that. And I'm sure we'll do it again. And we kind of like pepper it into like everything. Long story short, it should just be us. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of other people that are involved that make up this dream team to get you where you need to be.
Before we get into the dream team, why is having a dream team important?
To make everybody's life easier.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
I mean, it's not really extravagant. That it's literally just make everybody's life easier.
Yeah, well, I think for the client, I think it's peace of mind. It's knowing that everybody is competent, knows what they're doing, can trust the advice they're given. Also, and something I always point out to my clients is that using our dream team, and we can't tell anyone who they have to use for anything. That's a violation of multiple things. But we usually get our people to use our clients to use our people because
for no other reason other than the fact that we've already pre-vetted them for you, and we know that they get the job done and they do it efficiently and they do it well.
Well, but I take it one step further. I'm like, we're in constant communication with these people all week long. Like we finish each other's sentences. We know how each other work. We know when we need to get, when the best time is to contact those people. We can read between the lines on what they say. But we also just understand all of each other's processes, which really is a fancy way of saying it's easier for the client and they know that things are just being handled.
And it's one less thing you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
by finding them. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, if there's somebody that you trust wholeheartedly, like, no problem, that's fine. But like, we've got an arsenal of people in our pocket. But there are 7 specifically that go into making your transaction happen and to have very, very strong qualified people in all these roles.
All right. So right now, Jen's going to do her hair toss and then say, bestie agent.
So it all starts. So there are 7, and I will quickly list those out, and then we'll kind of get into the whys behind them. So obviously, there's your real estate agent. Then second, obviously, there's your lender. Now, the third that we don't really touch on too much, but is pretty dang critical, is the inspector and the insurance agent. So I guess 2 that we don't talk too much on, but like I said, are pretty critical in this, and we'll get into why. Then we have the mover and the cleaner. So these 7 people are going to be the ones to make your life a lot easier. Now, the reason why I say that the inspector and the insurance agent are often a little overlooked as far as their importance in this process is because, on top of the agent, obviously helping you with all parts of getting into the home, and, I don't have to go into everything that we're doing, and the lender processing your loan and getting you approved, the insurance agent. So if you are going to get a loan, one of the conditions of your loan is going to be having homeowners insurance. Having the right insurance broker, and he's the best. We have Sean Price with the Sean P. Price Agency. I'm sure we'll have him on here one of these days, but I cannot speak more highly of him to any client that I'm working with, client or not client. I have people who already own their homes and even just cars. And I'm like, when's the last time you had somebody look at your policy? Like, just out of curiosity, how often do you talk to the person who is responsible for your policy? Sean found that I was overpaying. I was paying double what I should have been and was underinsured. But all to go back to the point of you can't close your loan until you have homeowners insurance. And if you have ever heard anything about us talking about your mortgage, one of the things that goes into your mortgage is your homeowners insurance. And that is one of the variable pieces that can determine what your ultimate mortgage payment
So correct. What part of your mortgage payment
Yes.
is paying for your insurance, not just your mortgage payment.
Right.
Just want to clarify.
Sorry. Your mortgage payment, what you're paying every month. And it's making sure that you are getting, because every home is unique. It's making sure that you're getting a policy that's tailored to you, that you're not paying for something you don't really need, that you are paying for something that you do need, and in the right amount, and that you have somebody with an unbiased opinion to a certain carrier that can shop them around for you. That will ultimately have an impact on what you are paying every month in your mortgage payments. And that's something a lot of people don't consider. Some people say, like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'm just going to bundle my home and auto with whoever they currently have. And yes, it is a savings by bundling, but also there's a lot more that goes into insurance policies. And if you get somebody who can shop those around for you and have a consult and a conversation with you to be able to find what those most important things are and what's best for you individually, they follow our same fundamentals of let's make this customized to you specifically. It's going to have a very great impact on you, just A, your experience, and B, literally your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And also having that conversation with them, like let's say you go under contract, that should really be the next person you talk to, because insurance is starting to carry a lot of weight in getting these deals done or not, specifically for roofs. So you don't want to leave it to the 11th hour to just, oh yeah, I'll get my homeowner's insurance in the last couple of weeks. Because if they find that your home is not insurable because of some deferred maintenance or because of something that wasn't addressed, and then you come to find out that this needs to get addressed, you want to know that sooner than later. And I've run into that before. And like I said, their insurance companies are really cracking down on conditions and the lifespans of roofs, and if they are at the end of their effective life.
Yeah, well, I would say that insurance and inspectors, the two I's, we'll call them, are the only two of this dream team that actually have legacy implications. And what that means is after the sale. you want great service and you want to make sure that that property is underwritten correctly. Because if you got a claim down the road and someone makes a mistake, like I had a friend and I did not represent her, but the insurance agent did not correctly denote that there
I know
was
which
an
one
oil
this
tank
is.
in the basement. And then the oil tank leaked all over the basement and there was no coverage for it. And the insurance company's like, I don't know. The other thing is the inspector. You know, the inspector needs to give you the information and it's a snapshot in time, but it will help you head off certain things.
I also need to make it clear that just because you have an inspector through your house, when you do get an inspection, doesn't mean that nothing's going to go wrong after you buy it.
No, but it'll give you a heads up like, okay, you know what? That roof does need to be replaced in 5 years, not 15, like the seller says. You know, it'll tell you like, yeah, you know what? You might want to put a French drain down here, or at least put a sump pump and a dehumidifier just to keep like the moisture content down. Like those types of things can pay dividends well after the sale. So we are talking about a dream team that of professionals that will help you actually after the sale as well. And the two that are the most relevant to that are the insurance and the inspectors, to make sure that you take possession well, because you know the finances, like you're getting a 30-year mortgage, like you know, like other than like a slight uptick because of insurance or taxes, like you know what your payment's going to be. Agent usually isn't really anywhere around you. We are. I mean, we have lifetime clients, but you know, movers come and go. You know, the handyman comes and goes, whatever. And title office, you never hear from them again, you know, but those
Hopefully
two
not.
yeah, well, hopefully not. But even then, you know, title policy claims are usually pretty non-eventful. They usually
Well, it's also why I
fulfill
get
it.
title insurance. But to go before we move on too far away from it, as far as the inspector goes. So all these things are true about the inspector, but back to the whole point of why to work with the dream team that your agent has an existing relationship with is because not all inspectors are built the same, just like not all agents are built the same. Being able to have an inspector who knows how to speak to buyers is very important. And actually, in our networking group last week, somebody had asked our inspector, what do you find? What is like the one thing you find that like kills a deal the most in an inspection? And he goes, I don't really think there is any one thing that kills a deal because everything can be fixed. And I said, I can answer that. The one thing that can kill a deal is a bad inspector, is an inspector who cannot answer questions, who cannot remove fear from the equation, who is solution minded, because there really is a solution to everything that comes into an inspection report and everything that's
Yeah.
found. He says what his answer ultimately is it just comes down to cost and if they can afford the solution or not. But there is a solution to everything. And it's having an inspector with that mindset, because there are inspectors out there who, even down to the systems that they use and the programs that they use, leads to confusion. And
Yeah, they confuse the client.
yeah, and without clarity, and just giving the client a confusing report to look at, who doesn't make themselves available to take the time to answer questions or be able to effectively explain what the
But
solve
also
is.
just down to the report, like how it's laid out. It's like if it's just a laundry list of things that's wrong with the house, and then at the bottom of it, it's got like the 90% of the things that are right with it. But we use two inspectors who actually have two totally different personalities. I actually leverage them differently. I've been using Jeff for 10 years. I mean, and we have gotten, we have gotten through some really hard inspections. And the reason is the guy knows everything. And if you have a client who wants answers about this, and I always joke, like he will talk to you about the history of the roofing nail. I mean, he knows everything. So it's
Can
like,
you imagine getting into a get me out of a
dude,
room if the two of you get into talking about decks and stucco. I am out.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I mean, if you have a client who's more technically minded and wants to know not only what's wrong, but why and how to fix it, like he's very technically minded too. And those two people kind of speak to each other. If you got more laid back people and, they're just, they don't want to be overwhelmed by information. They don't need to know like a ton more. They're like, can it be fixed? Yes. Okay, great. What's next? Like that's a different personality. And
That's
that's why we have
Donnie.
two different inspectors. And that's why, Don is another fit. The one thing I will say also is that, and that's a big, like, punching bag for real estate is, parents, fathers being the killers of real estate deals.
I don't think they
That
do.
inspector, I will say this much, that inspector better know what he's talking about. Because if there's a father who's just waiting to find something wrong and protect his princess daughter and his son-in-law, he will do it. And the inspector needs to be able to talk about it. And also we agents need to be able to do the same thing. So the inspector is a very, very important piece. If you live in the area of the country that can get an inspection, you should absolutely have one.
Even if you're around our area where inspections are still being leveraged as a negotiation tool, being able to have ones who do offer what we call the showing consults or the walk and talks, where you get a verbal report, nothing in writing, and have like Uncle Donnie, who happens to be a licensed inspector, but not Donald Nangle, the licensed home inspector. It's important to do, and it's important to have somebody at least just to get eyes on it if you don't feel that you have somebody that you trust to be able to come through with you.
Yeah, and we can talk about that. That's actually a great topic for like an entire episode, is like how that all works, because I still explain that to people. I had people over at my house, and this guy wasn't buying a house or selling. He hadn't bought a house or sold a house in 2018. He's like, how are all these people waiving inspections? I said, they're not. That's the key. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, my buddy waived inspections. I was like, yeah, but did he have a showing consult? He's like, what the hell is that? I was like, and I explained the whole process to him. So teaser for the next episode.
We might be ripping off another episode today, maybe.
Maybe
it is a good one though, because actually it's part of.
It's a secret weapon, is what it is, and I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want people, junking up my. I don't want people filling up my our inspectors' schedules over here.
No, God, no, I need them. Well.
But in the end, so like those two pieces are they're real difference makers for sure. And then we got movers.
Well, we got the handyman, which I actually think I left out of my list when I first ran through
it. Yeah, the handyman is very important too. Whether you're leaving a house and getting it ready, or you're going in and you need little stuff fixed from that inspection report.
Let's say you're not the handiest person, like myself.
Yeah, and honestly, you want someone who's insured, who's going to be putting, if you need a water heater replaced, or you need something like light electrical, light plumbing. Little, like, we're not talking about building decks. We're talking about the little stuff where it's like, hey, there's a double tap in the box, or in the circuit breaker, like the little stuff where the inspector would point out and be like, yeah, you should probably have that fixed. That's not like up to code. Like those little things are perfect for a handyman, like to come in.
The leaky faucet and the smaller things that that you probably shouldn't be doing. But I'm sure you could make a laundry list long enough to have them come out to do it. But having a good handyman who is reliable, trustworthy, can trust their quality, because there are handymen out there that say that they're handyman, but they don't really do a very good job.
Yeah, no, they're hack asses is what they are. You need somebody who our handyman is literally married to another real estate agent, so he like knows what he's looking at, and he knows what's good enough. We're not trying to do bullshit work, but like there are times when a job can be done like way more than it needs to be, and a good handyman understands that it's in and out. More jobs is better, and not being stuck on a job site for hours on end. That's super important, but it's also a great tool to give a buyer.
And it's a handyman he was at my house. I had him come and check out. I forget what he was here for the one time. But he was going
upstairs to your
deck. It was there was something else before that. I did have him work on my deck though. But no, I had him here for something else. He was going down my basement, and my basement steps have like been loose like since I bought the house, and it's annoying because you step on them and it's like dunk, and it's safe. It's just obnoxious. And you're just like, I mean, I'm not gonna tell. He's like, I mean, you could replace them, or I could just chuck this piece of wood underneath of it and get it leveled up enough that it's not going to happen. And I'm like, that's all I want. That's all I want.
But the thing that's great about a good handyman too is that let's say you have the inspection, you just slide that thing right across the table after you buy the house, and you say, you just circle the things you want fixed, and he's got a complete guide as to what to
Well,
do.
you know that in
Get you a quote.
Don's report. So in our one inspector in his reports at the end, so he says like recommends qualified or a qualified certified in electrician, whatever, plumber, whatever. And his program, like his software, finds those like keywords and knows that, and then adds at the bottom, okay, insert your electrician or your plumber or HVAC person contact here, and we'll include it at the bottom.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So if it ever says like, oh, okay, this needs this contractor, his report will add it into the bottom of it.
Yeah.
So that you have your people, and it's people he has already pre-vetted and that he trusts and uses.
Yeah.
So, having a good one there.
Who's title next?
We replaced title with Handyman, but yeah.
No, we replaced attorney because we're not an attorney state.
Right.
Title.
And then we replaced attorney with title, and then replaced title with Handyman. But we can throw an eighth one in here.
Let's throw title in. I'll talk to title.
Having a good title company. But again, this is Pennsylvania. We do use title companies. There are other states that use attorneys in place of title companies. We are speaking specifically to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, and honestly, the attorneys just have title insurance. They have title companies within their law firm. So you still need to get title insurance. Yeah. It's just that there's attorneys who negotiate, and they interact in the real estate transaction in a different way. The title company that we use, it's just about the ease of the transaction and speed. Like, I mean, would we just do like an 11-day? We just did an 11-day as is, where is deal.
Yep.
And got that and knocked that out of the park. And we had a week, obviously we had a weekend right at the beginning of it. So it was hard to get that thing off the ground. But a good title company is going to be able to convey and get like tax certs and do everything really quickly. You want a title company that works very efficiently. And nobody even knows what title is. Nobody remembers what title is.
It's not a very exciting topic.
It's not
going to be part of like a Q&A episode that we might have, but it's like, I know that we go over some like boring topics on this podcast, but like that one might bore you to tears.
Title is about as boring as it gets, but the leverage point with them is really just the fact that like they're really efficient, and we have the cell phone numbers of everybody. I have the owner of the entire company cell phone, and we can leverage ourselves into that company. Like we need to triage like a file, like now we rarely do because we don't do a lot of like exotic deals.
There was that one.
Well, you get one that slips through the cracks where things come up that you don't foresee. But I mean, generally we're doing normal, resale and outside of a major metropolitan area.
But there's like, it's one of those things that, like the topic and what it's like, it's boring and will bore people to tears. However, it is really important. What they do is
it's important.
So just so people know what title is doing is they want to make sure that when you get your house, that there is like nothing. Well, first of all, on top of, making sure that everything is paid that needs to be paid and all that, they're making sure that you're going to go into that house and nobody's going to come after you for money on liens that are outstanding. And that when you get that house, that it's all yours with nobody else's problems attached to it.
Yeah. And that's called clear title. And it's the only way that a financed deal can be conveyed. Because if there's other like mechanics liens, meaning like, the seller stiffed the roofer, never paid him, or there's some tax lien, meaning like they didn't pay their property taxes or whatever, that the title insurance company goes and looks for all that. And also, if they make a mistake and they miss something, the insurance policy is there to make that all go away. So it ensures what's called clear title.
And if you think the likelihood of that happening is like, oh, what are the chances that would happen? Happened to my uncle. I tell this story to people when they're like, they ask like, well, why would I get an enhanced policy and whatever? And we're not going to go into what enhanced policies are and all that. But when you're getting title insurance and when they're offering it, so what had happened to my uncle, then they bought their house off of my aunt's mother. And, you would think that's like a sure thing, no problem. You would know everything that has ever happen to that house financially because it's within the family. He bought that house. All of a sudden, he finds out there was a $30,000 lien on that house. And guess who had to pay for it? Not my aunt's mother. They did.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have any enhanced title policies. And that was their problem. So they go into their house and then automatically, bam, $30,000.
All of it comes due, or all of it comes with the house. So it's really, really important.
They uncover everything. And I'll tell you what, there was another, it's great to be able to have a really great title company on your team because, for instance, I've got, even if for a seller, I've got sellers right now and they thought back and realized, I think there's a second mortgage that was taken on this property and they don't have a mortgage right now. It's the house is paid off, but they're like, I took out a second mortgage back in 1995 and I never heard anything about it since then. There is never anything that's come to me. I don't know what the status, and just like, and the bank that issued it doesn't exist anymore. And I don't even know the status of it. And it's really critical for them moving into their next house because they're pretty much like, they're putting all in on this next house. And if there's anything that comes out and they find a second mortgage at the settlement table,
it's going to affect their
they're not going to be able to buy their next house. I was like, no problem. I emailed our title company and our title people. I was like, hey, can you run title search on this property and on these people? 2 days, got it back, answered our questions, solved our problems.
What happened?
I'm pretty sure it's paid off. It came up, but it said that it, I'll send it to you later. I actually had a question for you, but I'm pretty sure it came back as.
A lot of times these second mortgages, they're not really second mortgages, they're home equity lines of credit. Keep in mind, almost all of them have a 20-year horizon. So if it's like, hey, in 1987, I think I had a home equity line of credit, like that definitely has been resolved. Like the bank came back for their money and retired that thing. So, but anyway, you know what? Honestly, Jen, I'm gonna shoot you straight. For as boring as you say title is, that was a pretty damn good conversation we had about title insurance.
They were capes. Well, and as an example on the flip side of working with a title company that I didn't know because I was on the listing side. We're at the settlement table and a second mortgage came up that nobody knew about. And it was a surprise. And I was like, how did you as a title company not find this ahead of time? Like, I mean, if it's there, it's there. And, we could have handled that or talked about it at an earlier time. But like my seller, anytime we've talked about what she owes in the house, had no idea that it existed and that it was there. And it was a surprise. You're getting $8,000 less than you expected because this came up. I'm like, how did this come up today?
Yeah.
And I'll just say, I love our people. Shout out to Atlantic Abstract.
The other one that we talked about is movers. I actually don't recommend. I have a couple of movers that if I was to move my thing, I would recommend. I do kind of shy away. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I do shy away from movers. Movers it's because you're dealing with people's shit. You're dealing with like things can break and like one little thing goes wrong and like all of a sudden they're the worst company in the world. And
I mean, put it this way, our knees are too frail and we're too old to be moving shit ourselves. And it's great, but I don't know if I'd put my name.
I still do it. Like somebody is like, I really have no idea where to start with movers. And I say, listen, I will give you a referral for anything except for a mover. But if you must have a name, it's like X movers. Like I will take, but like I do not. I tell them about 2022. I had like 4 deals in a row where I recommended movers, and 4 in a row, like either the guy was like completely late, one guy dropped something, and then there was the opposite where like one of my clients didn't tip. And like, I was like, you know what? I'm getting out of this moving game. I don't want anything to do with it.
Hey, movers, you're going to be really successful just by doing the bare minimum of a good job. Don't break people's stuff and be on time. If you do those 2 things, you're going to be wildly successful.
But it's hard too though, man, because the guy first of all, it's not a great job.
No, it sucks. God, we were moving my friend. So Steve and Sam we're at like 2, maybe 3 years ago now. It was like 2 years ago. We had settlement on my birthday and I was helping them. I helped them unpack and everything when the movers came a couple days later. Oh my God. Those movers, they went to the wrong house. They went to their old house in like Northeast Philly, not New Jersey. And they were late. It was hot as hell that day. And these movers are like in and out. I'm like, man, you got to be freaking miserable right now. It's a
Mhm.
job I'd never want, but
No, it's hard. It's a hard job, man, and you don't see like
we're hiring them because we
35-year
don't want to be doing
movers.
it.
Yeah, well, no, and it's like, but you're also dealing with people's stuff, and it's emotional, and it's be careful with that, be careful with that. That was my auntie, whatever. It's not. You got to have the right personality. At least the foreman does. So, and then what's our last one here? We got to wrap this up.
Yeah, fine. It's the cleaner.
Oh, the
Believe
cleaners.
it or not, it's
Cleaners.
hard to find a good cleaner.
Oh, I got a great cleaner. They just won't come up to you. I've got a cleaner who, no, Walter will do all of like lower half of Bucks, lower half of Montgomery. He'll go to
That's
Delco.
fine. Faye does this area, and I love her process. I mean, finding a cleaner that has a process too. I mean, and she has a team of people that she trusts, and she does a FaceTime consult of your house to be able to plan accordingly. And be able to customize it. She has follow up with her team and with the client. I used her myself, and she makes sure before her team leaves that she is calling and puts the client on the phone to get the approval. Like, did they do a good job, and is there anything that was missed? And I love that a cleaner has a process, but not all
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
do.
No, not all of them do. My cleaner I found through a neighbor, like, I don't know, in 2017. He's my house cleaner, but he does deep cleans for listings. And they do amazing work, man.
Well,
And it's great.
and to keep it on real estate, obviously, side of things, having ones that know, are familiar with doing like a pre-listing cleaning, a like first
Mhm.
move-in cleaning, and just knowing, I mean, I can't say there's like a difference between them, but like, yes, there is. Um, it's not like you're just doing like your average, monthly cleaning and, you know, but it's a level of, okay, this needs to be show ready.
Yeah. Well, that's what a deep clean is. I mean, a deep clean is really just for all those like little, like on the trim and really getting down and making sure that
And
like
actually
when
mopping a
people are,
floor so that you as an agent aren't on your hands and knees 20 minutes before your open house starts and realizing that the floors weren't even cleaned.
yeah,
That was so much fun. It was a
yeah,
great time.
it's an easy job. It's easy.
And then you found things in the attic that day too. That was a really great day.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think we can round this out by just saying that if your agent, when you're interviewing your agent, you should ask them about their dream team.
You really should, because what I found out on Tuesday, so Tuesday, myself, Brandon, and Renee, the three of us that are on the team, Seth was too busy in the Bahamas to join us, went to a class with Tri-County, and
Hey, Jen, it was pretty great in the
I'm
Bahamas. I'm
sure
not going
it
to lie.
was. I'm really jealous. And I was sitting in a stuffy classroom next to Brandon doing the pee-pee dance and breathing the same air as me, getting me sick.
Yeah.
But there was we went on this 10-minute tangent. It was run by an inspector on just people asking about what he offers. And, oh yeah, like, well, do you do this? And yeah, I could use this. And I'm like, if you raised your hand at the beginning of this class as somebody who has been licensed for 3 or more years, and you do not already have your own credible inspector
Inspector. Yeah,
or
I don't
just
know what you're
your own vendors, I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it. There's a lot of people who don't. A referral is an extension of your reputation, and it just takes a couple bad. Like I'm already in the moving bucket, And then there's also the idea that a lot of agents don't like giving out their because they feel that they should give the consumer choice. I always give the consumer choice, but I also provide like an option, being like, if you don't really want to go find your own person, I have someone for you.
Mhm.
And almost always they are like, that makes a ton of sense. All your clients and you work with these people all day, every day. It makes a whole lot of sense that I would just use those people because they'll do a good job and you have your watchful eye on them. And not every single person in our list has been there from the beginning. I have taken people out.
Mhm.
I've used people. I've taken a shot. You remember when the woman mopped the concrete floor in Roxborough
Yes.
and like right before
Yes.
showings? And it
And
was
I will
like,
never forget the picture you sent of just the amount of fans that you had going.
I had carpet fans, I had oscillating fans, I had box fans. I was at Target buying all the box fans. Someone had gone into the basement and mopped the concrete floor of a 1932 row home, which did not dry out for a week. I was at that
For
house
people who
5
don't
times.
understand why that's so bad, this was, like, right before showings were starting or, like,
Yeah.
house one of those things, and, like, a wet basement. Somebody walks in, people who are coming into a home with, like, the most watchful eye, come into a home and the basement's wet, and you expect
Yeah.
them to believe or just automatically think, like, "Oh, cleaner just took a mop to it." That sounds like a crock of shit.
Yeah, well, I had to, like, beat all these people back, and then, they sent me a bill. They sent me a bill, and I told Julie at the time, because she was helping me with it. I said, "You send them a bill back for me." I was like, "I bill out at 300 an hour in court, so why don't you send back a bill?" I was at that property within 24 hours. I was there 5 times. I had to pull fans, put fans back in, put it back. I had to go up to my son's baseball game, then go back down, put them in overnight. So I sent that bill back. I just never heard from him.
Oh, or the plumbers that came in to do the sewer lateral inspection who were trying to get my clients to spend $9,000 when ultimately they didn't have any reason to, and were trying to pressure and scare them into it. That was really great too. And I said,
Yeah. So not everyone gets to stay, man. Not everyone gets to stay. So, all right. Well, let's wrap this up. Yeah. So if your agent does not have a dream team, you should ask why,
mhm.
or you should find an agent who does. So,
It's to make
this was a
everybody's
fun.
life easier. And if, again, like Seth said, if there's somebody that we have backups, and not even backups, we have personality matches. So
Yeah.
we have, hey, you want to interview a few different lenders? Go ahead. No problem. I love working with all of them. Here's a few. See who you vibe with best. But
Yeah.
yep. But that's that
Well,
on that.
I'm just thinking too, just to leave us with this, moving really does suck.
Moving does
But this,
suck. That's why we literally, and that it's time to fix that. That's what we're trying to do.
it's one way we fix that.
Yep.
It's so funny that I swear that logo at the top changes. If you're watching on YouTube, I swear every time we log on this thing, it changes.
When Eunice edits it, she puts in the right one. You on here, you have the wrong one when we're recording that nobody can see.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. I know I'm confusing as hell. All right. I'll see you guys.
Bye.